we're going for another walk.
And I don't have my glasses on again.
That's okay.
I won't be able to read comments.
So nobody's walking.
There's trees. There's the street. We're heading out.
Here's Max, hopefully. Here's the star of the show.
Yeah.
If you're not pointing it at him, they're not going to see it. Let's change. I'm a little cranky this morning. There's Max, the star of the show. So, which way did you want to go walking? You walk the same way or the other way?
Let's go the other way today.
Okay, so we're going to cross the street now, y'all. Good morning, Diana. We're just magically going live, so we'll see what happens. I have some coffee in my fun, here we go, Gideon's Halloween mug. In case anyone's wondering, coffee is not something Dr. McDougall encourages. But I had one tiny cocktail. Hey, Linda Fowler. Last night, and I feel the need to have that. He also does not recommend alcohol. But we went to, this is the big street, y'all. You were saying there were no cars. They are all here. It is not so big right now. Good morning, Chef Julia. And good morning, Linda Fletcher. Yes, we are hoping the walk will be a good way. And see how there's all this kind of construction-y stuff? They're putting in cable. Oh, Diana bought my vegan slow cooker cookbook. Well, I hope you sure do enjoy it. See, I told you there are fancier houses over here. We're going to the fancy way. And I think these are actually contractor houses. Probably. And this side mostly is a little newer, and like the golf clubhouse is over this way. So what are y'all been cooking? We made some pasta salad to take to a friend's house last night, and then tomorrow I'm bringing dinner. I love this house. Another modernist house. Isn't that cool? They are right on the golf course, which would not be a plus for me. See, here's a bunch of golf course over here. And hopefully it won't be busy because Max is dog reactive, for any of you guys who are new to the Kathy and Cheryl walking show. If only he could tell us, it would be exciting, right? So we went to the Nasher Museum, which is in Durham, North Carolina, not far from here. Isn't that pretty? And there was we have a local drag company, and what's it, Stormy Daniels? Stormy Day. And I posted about that on Instagram, and it was super fun. It was very short. It was free, super family friendly.
Yeah.
And we got to see some art, because then it's actually free admission to the Nasher for a while.
They were doing
Here.
They were doing like a fashion show based on an exhibit that was there, and all the costumes that they had were made by people of color.
Hey, Real, it's awesome to see you here. They're doing construction at a neighbor's house. They've been doing this for a while. It's so cool. They're adding this 2-car garage and a mother-in-law behind it. It's some of the smartest stuff, and they have it's just so cool. They've been working on that super hard. And so, I don't know about you guys, whenever we see that, we're like, oh, we should do this, that, and the other. And we're like, perhaps we should finish decluttering before we think about anything like that. I don't know if you guys have things that you put off or do when you can, but we're also hoping to work on the yard over the winter, because I'm suspecting there won't be a lot of freezing, but I may be wrong. So we went to that last night, and then we stopped at our friends, and we all rode together. And I made a pasta salad in class. Recently, I did a sauce class, and I had made a jalapeno ranch dressing. So I made kind of a Mexi-inspired pasta salad, which I feel like couldn't be any less Mexi. Oh, we're getting lots of noise. Lots of exciting things happening here on this side of the road. So I took some banza pasta, which is chickpea rotini, added some thawed roasted corn from Trader Joe's, some black beans, a little bit of nutritional yeast. What else? What else did I put in? Oh, and I put in an exciting sliced black olives for Cheryl, because those are on the don't have it all the time list. And then I made my oat queso again, and made some Thin Credibles baked chips, and they really liked it. They're big meat eaters. So I wasn't sure how any of that was going to go over, but it went over pretty well. For those of you who thought there's no traffic in our neighborhood, it all depends on the day and time that you're out. This goes up to a T, but there's some little wooded area that's Max's favorite. And I thought it wasn't going to be quite as hot, but I hear the hot bugs talking. And this is a different little lake coming up that you're going to see. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it a little bit. And our neighbors are building this great, like, little fenced raised bed garden. And hi, TS. Beautiful area to walk in. The oat queso is very good. Thank you for the recipe. Good morning, Jessie. And Chef Julie says, I got those Thin Credibles after you mentioned them. They're really good and cook well as chips in the air fryer. Thank you. Well, thanks Chef AJ, because that's who told me about them. And they weren't here in North Carolina, but I did find them recently. Hi, Dee. Good morning. And plant-powered peddler. Awesome. So they redid the front of their house with that new door and that new entrance. It's so cool. And just remember, I tell you guys, I live the life of the easily amused. So here you are. Isn't that pretty though? And the sunsets on the other side, you'll see that when we go down. It's a little murky right here, but still, you can see over there the sand trap for the 18th tee and the clubhouse. Unless y'all think we're fancy, we do not belong to the golf club. We just walk around in our neighborhood. And there's a house down here it looks like they're redoing. And see, I don't know if you can see over here, they have a cool raised garden too. And you might be wondering why all these fences and things. And there's a lot of deer. So when we take a walk at night, you guys are going to see all the deer hanging out. And they will seriously eat all your food. I don't mind sharing, but I do mind if they eat all the food. And I was disappointed this week because it was supposed to not be as hot, and today is a little bit better. But still, I think it's still going to get to like 87 or something like that here. I know some of you have it way worse. Chef Juliet, how hot is it going to be where you are now today? I know it's been real hot there. If you look through here, again, we have all these little wooded patches, right? I won't show you that. It's going to be 107. That's crazy. Oh, and Jesse says how funny to see that fire hydrant out in the middle of nowhere. It's so not the middle of nowhere, but it is like in a neighborhood. So you guys didn't see the one that's like down by the wooded area at our house. But I don't know about this side of the street, but our side of the street is on well water. And then our friends who live about a mile away are on a well co-op. But so when we lose power, we don't have water because we can't power the pump for the well, and we have septic. It reminds me a lot of Irma Bombeck's work. Yeah, it's kind of, it's not really rural right here as much as it's kind of suburban. This just happens to be on a golf course, so I think like that's one of the T's, and you can see private property, members only. And this is some house that they're redoing. And hi, Mary Ellen. It's very hot and humid in Sussex, Canada. We're having a balloon festival. Oh, so cool. And Delia, hi from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I bet it's hot there. And Jesse said we used to have a generator for power outages, so we had a sump pump and water and heat. We do not at this point, but we might at some point. It's been pretty good. Our power is on like a smaller power co-op, and we're the only house on our road on the other side that's on it. The rest is on the big Duke Energy, and we've, in what, 13 years, we've gone out of power a handful of times, only once longer than a couple of days. I think it was 3 days we lost power in an ice storm. And the power goes down all around us all the time. So I kind of feel glad to have the smaller person energy instead of the big giant energy. And you can see, because it's so many trees, and you see that even though they come and trim them, they're right there with the electric lines. So if we get a hurricane, heavy winds, an ice storm or something like that, that's why we can lose power here very easily. All it takes is one tree to topple over, and a lot of people are out of power until it can be fixed. And Cheryl used to work for an energy company, so she used to actually go out and travel when there were hurricanes to the places where they were going.
I kind of missed that a little bit.
You want to switch for a second?
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
It's okay.
I can't read anything because I don't have my glasses on.
Well, not many people are talking, but it would just be okay. So we stayed out too late last night, and we still got home about, I don't know, 9:30. The thing only lasted less, I don't know, it was like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we walked around the museum and looked at the art exhibition that was super cool. I forget who the artist was. Wasn't paying attention. But it was someone who was young in the late 80s and 90s. And
Leighton Harris?
maybe it was Leighton Harris. But it was really cool. And September is Pride Month here in North Carolina, whereas it's June everywhere else.
Just in Durham.
Just in Durham, it's Pride in September. I think they were trying to like make it not so hot, but I think that's changed.
They wanted to include the kids from Duke.
From Duke University. So we have a lot of universities near us. Duke University is in Durham. Chapel Hill, UNC, is in Chapel Hill. NC State is in Raleigh. And there's still more.
And then there's 2 historically black colleges.
There's also a women's college. Or there's a lot of learning happening around me, so I should be a lot smarter than I am. So when everybody comes to school, but Pride is still pretty small. It's a little parade. Our friend who's dog trainer, Claire Reesclore, she sets up a booth there. And then our friend Katya Gorbachova is also going to have a booth. She's the one who comes on and tells us how to work our bodies to be healthier. And she's coming on next Wednesday too. We're going to talk about basically making our lives better with movement. And I'm wondering if that's our dentist, our ophthalmologist. Sorry. And she just moved in the neighborhood. We were walking down the street and a car stopped and said, "Do you know who I am?" And I was like, "You seem familiar." And then she goes, "Is this better or this?" And we were like, "Oh." Oh, and I just missed a comment. Let me see if I can come back and see that again. Oh, and Jessie says it looks beautiful here. Reminds me of upstate New York. And do we get beautiful leaf colors? Yes, we do. Fall is amazing. And I missed North Carolina so much when I lived in New Orleans. It just was not. Here, I'll give you some exciting footage of Max. We don't let him go on the pretty, pristine lawn. See, look how pretty. Not our lawn. Somebody else's. And the people who live here are really nice, but I love the way it's set down and they're right on the water. They have kayaks and everything. Oh, fall is my favorite season for sure. And last year, the leaves lasted extra long. So sometimes we go to Asheville in the mountains. And yeah, here we go, I'm putting you on. This is our eye doctor. Look how fun she is. So if you're in Durham or Raleigh or Chapel Hill, that's who should be checking your eyes out. That's all I have to say. She's delightful. How's it going? You're doing awesome. Oh, you've got groovy shoes on gardening. Oh, look. I'm going to zoom in on these. Oh, those are amazing. Oh, Real saying cooking my coba beans because I wrote books. You're funny. Thank you. Bye. Enjoy your gardening. If you're still here when I come back, I'll give you you can have a guest spot. Obviously, it's super formal. So now you got to see her. She is so fun. And she just makes things easy. Oh, Plant Powered Peddler says, love the changing seasons. I was expecting it by now. And see, this thing I don't understand. You guys, maybe you can explain it to me. The painting of the brick. Hi, Peter from Guernsey, UK. And I'm probably saying that incorrectly. But I'm glad you're here and hanging out. We're taking our pupper for a walk. And we're on the other side of the street from where we were last time. And see, you see the golf is more evident. This is a cart path. And this is a tree that seems to bloom like 17 times a year. I don't know if it's a crab apple or what. Oh, this is cute. Maxie's having a little snack break, a little drink break. And Max is, how old is he now? Cheryl? 12. Max is 12. And so with it being so hot, it was not so hot for a little while, and he was like, yeah, let's go. And if some of you may see that he has a little shave part on him, he's doing great, but he had to get an ultrasound for his liver, and everything checked out perfectly. So that is good. His liver enzymes were a little bit high. And this is the little body of water. I don't know what to call it. It's not a pond, but it's not a lake.
It's more like a pond. It's just a big pond.
It's a big pond. I don't know if somebody knows. Let us know.
It's a water feature.
It is a water feature for sure.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're looking awesome. by the way. You look so healthy and vibrant. It's a neighbor that we've been seeing since COVID, and he just looks awesome. So this is someone's very large backyard. I'm trying not to put everyone who may not want to be on this live on the live. But if you're in the neighborhood, run on by. Mia, what is that color? Oh, do you mean the green? How is it in Spain, Mia? Mia Janis is also Howard Jacobson's wife, who I used to hang out with. She does no longer live in North Carolina or the United States. But I'm sure she remembers the cicadas saying, it's going to be hot. Ooh, crabapple tree. Let's see if I can. The sun is right in my eyes, so I can't really see much. So hopefully I'm giving you a close-up of the crab apples, maybe? Isn't that cool? I just want to pick some of them. All right. Come on back around there, little gimbal. I miss the green. Oh, and you miss the cicadas? I do not. Yeah, I will send you some. Okay. Now it's trying to act up. Okay, come on. Come on. Well, I guess I'll just do it this way. Oh, and someone, the light is very strong right now. Crab apples, I know. So this is the way to the Eno entrance by our house. So Mia, tell us about Spain. I know you're living by the water, and I sent you a Facebook message. But like yesterday, I think it got up to 100, or at least the heat index did, which is not as bad as Chef Julie's 107. And can you hear the big fan? I guess at these putting greens, at the end they have one too. They have these big fans to dry off the putting greens in the morning. Oh, Mia says I will chat via WhatsApp. That means I have to get WhatsApp. I don't know if I have it anymore. No Facebook, but I'll try and get WhatsApp. This is a little place that I've stopped and done lives at before, that people are like, it's so pretty, you should have a picnic over here. And I'm like, this is somebody's house. So you can see now with this, Tia says, most houses, properties there have fences for borders. Let me see if I can see the rest of it. The sun is bright and making the screen hard to read. Let's see. Where I'm at, Southern California, fences are all over. And so many trees. Well, it depends. We do not live with one of those organizations. What is it called? An HOA over here, which is why we bought over here. Some places who have dogs have invisible fences. And then sometimes, and I don't know if here is one of the places, but a lot of times the front yard will be big in the front and they'll have fences in the backyard. So we're kind of seeing the front of most everybody's house, and that is the country club. This is the older country, not older as in more prestigious, just older. The fancy country club is at another golf course about, I don't know, 5 minutes from us. It's still in North Durham. There's a pool. And Real says, are you broadcasting from your phone? It sounds so clear. Yes. And I don't have a mic on or anything. I'm just talking into the phone. It seemed to work okay, but if we get into a lot of construction, it won't be. Do we have lots of wildlife here? Deers, bears, turkeys. I've never seen a turkey. Tons and tons and tons of deer. And we get the occasional bear sighting. We get coyotes. We get foxes. We have a ton of chipmunks.
I've heard we have bobcats, but I've never seen one.
Do you want to say again?
I've heard we have bobcats, but I've never actually seen one here. I used to see them in South Carolina all the time.
So the one thing we usually end up worrying about are coyotes, and you can hear they don't stay in one place. They'll stay here for a little while. Do you hear the coyotes howling at night? We do when they're in our area. And when we do, Fergus the cat stays in the house. And Mary Ellen says we have lots of turkeys here in Sussex. Ooh, I think that would be a fun sound to hear. Well, the coyotes make us nervous. The one that scares the bejesus out of me every time are the foxes. And they weren't real close this year because they'll mate. And it sounds like women screaming. So the first time we heard it, we were ready to run out of the house to call the police for someone. And it's just blood curdling.
We also have eagles.
Oh yeah, we have eagles and hawks.
And giant owls.
The chat with the online 12-day is okay. All right, so let's be real clear. The online 12-day program is a pay program, right? So if you go to Dr. McDougall, and I think it's drmcdougall.com, or look up Dr. McDougall 12-day program on Google, you will find the sign up link really easily. The free program is a little harder to find, and basically the free program isn't a program. It's actually free information on his website, and you can go through it page by page and get all the basic goodies. You can also go to your library and check out the starch solution. And this is, again, hopefully Emmy might be out. It's our neighbor's house that has this cute dog that has a little doggy door, and she comes and visits. And then this is where we hide with Max when we see dogs. So a lot of times if there's a dog, Max is dog reactive, which means we have to make his life a little more comfortable, which means I walk in the woods a lot sometimes. And here's a fence. This is kind of their side yard, but it's like, there are more proper fences. They also did some construction. A lot of people did construction over COVID, actually. Real says, where I live in Milwaukee, we have deer, turkeys, and lots of birds. And Jesse says, people who live in the city think the country is quiet at night, but it's not. Yeah, that's very true. And, well, you can hear all the bugs now. And you hear bugs at night, but at night it's not always the hot bugs. And there's just something about hearing the hot bugs that's just a little bit deflating, because it means probably by the time we're walking back home, we'll be drenched in sweat. I brought my little coffee along.
Yeah, somebody didn't pick up their stuff. Let's go.
Lots of stucco and wooden fences. Yeah, and well, here's the thing. I think when we lived near downtown Durham, and I would say while we didn't live in downtown Durham now, which is lots of condos and apartments, there were still lots of trees to be seen, but the houses were much closer together, and they're kind of trying to build up some of the houses too. We'll see how far we end up going today. You might see some of that. And they just have the cutest little gardens. And during COVID, this neighbor actually had some volunteer plants and planted them up and things and set them out for all of us to take some to our house. That was so sweet. But pretty soon we're going to be at least getting to the outskirts of the Eno River State Park. And it's on this side we get to go to the state park, but this side is busier. Okay, let me see what it says. Do I count my steps? Do I have a recommendation? I have Cheryl's hand-me-down Apple Watch, and it just counts it. I go back and forth about how I feel about having things counted versus not counted. And I think it depends on your personality. Do you remember, what was that game called, that farm game that was popular on Facebook like 15 years ago?
Oh.
Farm something. But anyhow, you'd have to go in and click on stuff. Here, what's this say? I'll Google, but how far are you from Murphy? Murphy where? Let me see. Murphy, North Carolina? We do get lots of rain. We don't have to, we very rarely have to worry about drought here in Durham, North Carolina. I think it's probably been about 13 or 14 years ago. We had a kind of a summer drought. Farmville, that's it. Farmville used to make me so stressed out, y'all, because I would be like, I didn't go for 2 days and now there's all these weeds. So why am I even talking about Farmville? When we're talking about steps and seeing things and how much you've done, some people seeing it motivates them. Some people seeing it, it stresses them out. Now, when I have a good week, I love looking at my watch. But what I like about my watch is I don't have to do it. I don't go on to Strava anymore or say, hey, I'm taking a walk. Cheryl uses the special stuff, and I just let my, if I move, my watch counts the steps. The only thing I do is if I get on either of the Pelotons, I sync it for my heart rate. But I do see my steps, and I do tend to wear my watch. But I try not to get too crazy about it. But if it helps you, I have a friend that has a Fitbit, and they like it just fine. I don't know if you can go wrong. Honestly, is there one that you would recommend or not recommend, Cheryl?
I think all the phone brands. I think Samsung has their own watch and stuff now too. I mean, it's just what you want to use.
What's that GPS? Garmin.
Garmin has.
My friend is a runner and she uses a Garmin watch and loves it.
Yeah.
The reel says, I'm paying attention to my steps because I need to keep strong while I'm waiting to get a new guide dog. I lost my third guide dog at the end of July. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's got to be so hard in so many ways. Trying to get the chat to come back. Oh, due to liver failure, it was quite a shock, I bet. And so we're getting, you can kind of tell, right? We're getting near this. They're actually selling this little piece of land, or they were.
No, it's further up.
No, this was for sale when this house was for sale.
Oh, that's right, it was.
And there's a little creek down there. I don't know if you can kind of see it. It doesn't seem ideal for building, personally. And there's some kind of piping down there. I don't really get it. I'm going to try switching hands. We'll see how this works. But it's just this way. The other way is pretty too. But this way you're really getting forest vibes.
Yeah, starting right about
Oh.
here, there's the sign.
We're,
Signs on the tree down there. I don't think they can see it that good, but there's
I
a yellow
can't see.
sign.
Oh, okay.
And that means
So starting right where that tree is leaning on the other tree.
this is part of the Eno River State Forest.
Yeah, and so
And it kind of goes in and out of the forest as we walk along here.
yeah, and Dee says there's dragonflies all in Destin, Florida, and we have some dragonflies. We've been seeing a lot of hummingbirds, tons of butterflies. In fact, one of my parsley plants was laid to waste by some butterfly babies. Well, I looked in there and I'm like, oh, I'll get you off and put you somewhere else where you can eat in peace. And we moved about 15 or 20 of them, I think. They weren't in their cocoons yet. They were just caterpillars. So I gave them a little something to eat and moved them in the shade. So fingers crossed. I just didn't want them to eat my whole container. Let's see.
You feel different. the cool coming out of the woods.
Yeah, it's always nice over here, and like, see how pretty. And we're gonna go at least all the way to the entrance, and hopefully we can walk in and walk down a little bit.
Yeah, he'd like that.
I would like that too.
It's gonna be probably 10 degrees cooler. You can feel it coming off of here.
And so sometimes you guys have heard, blah, let's start all over again. So there are times that I will talk about taking a walk and forest bathing. And sometimes even though, so like this is the other side. Oh, good morning, Jennifer. It still feels like you're forest bathing when you're right here. And I mean, most of these trees are deciduous, so they're gonna, lose their leaves. There's also lots of evergreens around, but it's particularly lush in the summer. Hi, Wendy. Thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to come back to North Carolina. I've lived in New York and St. Louis and Phoenix, Scottsdale, and New Orleans. And there was lots of great things about New Orleans. And Jennifer says, looks like home. I'm from New Hampshire. And you know what? I used to do a music summer festival in New Hampshire. Oh, it's in the mountains near Georgia. I don't know, Dee. Cheryl's the distance person. I just know that things are far. I know we're going to drive all the way to Massachusetts soon.
Well, it takes us 5 hours to get to Atlanta, so it's probably somewhere around, depending on how far off of the 70, or how far off it gets, I'd say it maybe 3.5, 4 hours away.
So Cheryl says about 3.5 or 4 hours away.
Depending where it is in the mountains.
So, but it's just so peaceful just to see all the green. And I say that now. Then in the fall I'll say, isn't it all beautiful as it changes colors? And then in the winter, like in the summer, I can never think that the winter will be beautiful, but it is. Oh, Terry said she made the salted watermelon ice cream from my Ninja Creamy ebook. That's one of my favorites. One thing I made yesterday too, so I made a dessert for everyone. And those of you who've been in the plant-based community, you're like, that's not that exciting. But I made silken tofu chocolate mousse. I made a big batch, so I used like 3 shelf-stable containers of silken tofu drained. I used a bag of endangered species vegan milk chocolate chips, which you can't really find anymore. I used some of my secret stash. And a little bit of almond extract. I underestimated really my chocolate chip to tofu ratio. I probably should have used 2 tofus. And so I added a little bit of maple syrup to it. And I put it in little glass jars, so we'd have little individual fancy desserts. I know, secret stash. I went to several Sprouts in the area, which we had to drive far, and I got all that there were when I realized they were not going to be making them anymore. And we can go in for a little bit. There's a ton of cars. So that's the entrance. Jessie says, are chocolate chips an endangered species? Evidently these are. And I love it when I can find a good vegan milk chocolate, which is really hard. And again, if you're doing a whole food plant-based no oil diet, in general, chocolate chips are not on there because they have cocoa butter. That's just what chocolate chips have. So this would be part of our 10% non-whole food plant-based no oil. But it's, yeah, there's a dog right there. Okay. So because there's a dog right there, I do not have a video on my atomic pecan loaf, but
Wait for them to load up and then
Okay, let's just go past this way. Let's just go up towards...
Well, they're right there, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because we just stood here. Beautiful scenery. I'm going to see what this said. The light just keeps getting in my face, and I can't see anything on the screen. All right. Let me come back here. Oh, it's Marilyn. Hey, Marilyn. Okay, thank you. Obviously, he's dog reactive. Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind for you to be so thoughtful. We really appreciate it. Well, and the people who don't, though, just you can say anything and they'll still let them come up to him.
Yeah, I've done that a few because she is hit or miss, and so we don't meet other dogs. I'll have her like off the trail holding her, and they're like, "Oh, can our dogs meet? What about this situation?"
Well, thank you. I just want you to know how much we appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
So thank you. We met a super friendly dog owner who said they met Max before, because we always announce with our dog is dog reactive and moved to the side. And so he said, I even leashed my dog.
I didn't see him, but I do know the dude that drives the car right beside me has a black lab.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Very well-behaved dog, but his lab stays with him. That dog will be off the leash until he sees you, and then he will leash you.
Okay. Thanks for the info. You have a great day.
Dude, take care.
Okay, so this is the entry to the park. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can pin the message. Now, I pinned it, but I can't see it. Unpin it. All right, I'm going to get there. Live chat. How do you think of 10%? I was wondering what would be 2 meals a week that are not compliant. I loosen up a little when my adult children cook our weekly meal. Oh, and Marilyn likes the salted ice cream. So how we think about the 10%, and maybe this is kind of, there's certain things that are not, and now we are officially in the state park. I'll show you the sign. And once you walk in here, I mean, you really, it's a canopy. Isn't that awesome? It's just a canopy of trees everywhere. And there's like pine cones and pine needles. And so this is the sign. It's the continental access. There's a bazillion access points. So one way we think of it is about 1 meal a week. And that means if we want to go out and have something slightly or not compliant, and again, for those of you who are like, well, what's compliant to you? That basically, in general, we're eating whole food plant-based, not whole food plant-based, no oil. So like at a bowl restaurant, maybe some of the vegetables have a little oil on them, or if we have a small thing of sauce, maybe I'm trying to shield you from Max's marking of all the trees. That's why I'm moving you from hand to hand. Nobody needs to see that. Also, like, so the dessert last night would be kind of in that 10%, though it's really not that bad. And probably, I don't even think we had a quarter cup. I think it was more, it might have been a quarter cup of it. Just a person. Okay. And then, so we've got that vegan Indian buffet now at Sitar and kind of in between Durham and Chapel Hill. That happens every other week. So we could go to that if we want to. There is some oil used in their cooking. It's not, we avoid all the fried things. Hey.
I saw Copperhead up where the path splits up here. It was down to the left when it goes downhill in that shady area.
Oh.
But yeah, he was sitting on the edge of the trail.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to let you know because I almost stepped on it.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. I think we'll go to the right, but I really appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
So one thing we didn't talk about with wildlife is there are lots of copperhead snakes. So a really nice person walking the trail just said, hey, to the left of the trail on the top is a copperhead. And she almost stepped on it. So one of the things I do find is people in North Carolina, super friendly. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to move back here. It's not that I found friendly people everywhere. And Dahlia says for 21 meals a week, 2.1 meals is 10%. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, less than that. So maybe I always say 90 to 95%. Maybe we're closer to 95. Yeah, there are lots of copperheads. We see them. The other road we did, we've seen them on our walk there too. That's one of the reasons why when it's hot, we don't really walk in the dark. We did that the other day, and Cheryl had a headlamp, and there was a copperhead crossing the street. So it would be real easy to step on one. And that is not what you want to do.
And in here, it's very camouflaged.
Yeah, and see how camouflaged the ground is? So even though it's very obvious here, I'll let you go, what part is path and what part is forest. The copperhead doesn't know. So we try not to do more than one meal out a week. And we don't always do one, but like, I would say probably 3 of the 4 meals a month right now that we're eating out are at a bowl restaurant. Oh, that's awesome. Terry says I do my steps inside. My insurance gives a reward if I walk 10 days, 5,000 steps. That's great.
Which, when we're at the bowl restaurant, we could actually like tighten that up even more if we wanted to use our balsamic that we have in the car.
Yeah, that's true too. So, and we just live willy-nilly, but also one thing that I've been using, this is not a perfect system, but if you look at the calories on the sauces and dressings, usually the ones with the least calories have the least oil. So there's like a maple teriyaki at Bibimbap that I like a lot, and it's significantly lower in calories than the sesame ginger, which at another restaurant, it's exactly the opposite. So, and when we're doing sauces, we're probably doing 1 tablespoon. So, Max is like, I want to go to the water. No, we're not going to the water today. Okay, you don't need to see that. Sorry. Back to the trees. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Trying to get in a walk before it gets too hot. How about y'all? You're finishing yours up. You were smarter than us.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, good. Someone said they saw a copperhead the other way.
Yeah. Oh, really?
On the trail. So she came back and said it.
We just went, didn't see it.
Oh, good. Maybe it was after y'all.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
But in case you go that way, I wanted to tell you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
You have a good day. I'm showing some friends the forest. They're loving it.
Awesome.
Oh, and in southern Arizona, they have to watch out for the rattlers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Parents have pygmy rattlers in Florida.
And Cheryl says her parents in Ocala have pygmy rattlers. Rattlers. I don't know why I'm saying them that way. Rattlers.
That's how I'm saying.
I'm sounding like some sort of cowboy from the Southwest, and I'm just a Southern girl. But there's always interesting falling trees. There are weeds that Cheryl does not want the dog to get into, mostly because there could be snakes in there. You can see some of the evergreens too. So another day we will take you down to the water, which is going right instead of left. And Max likes to drink out of the Eno River. That's what it is. It's actually a river, and I know what it is But like, doesn't this just seem like a place where fairies should be? Susan says, I saw Cheryl walking your fur baby, so I thought I would do the same thing. Yay! Oh no, but my defiant rescue pup. I wish these messages would really stay up a little bit easier on the phone. Defiant rescued pup was just too assertive to enjoy your chat with her in tow. A training goal. Oh, I understand. We have poison ivy and poison oak. And poison sumac. We have all the poison leafy things. And Cheryl is desperately allergic to poison ivy. And got it about a month. No, it hasn't been a month yet. It's been 3 weeks ago. Because our friends have a big backyard. I think they have an acre backyard-ish. And they have a lot of poison ivy there. And they hired, is it a flock of goats? A herd of goats. So you can actually, it's not cheap. It was like $1,000. And they go and they eat it. Oh, Peter says, here we make little doors and attach them to the trees for fairies. I would love that. You definitely feel the fairy energy as soon as you come in here, or I do. And this is just showing you like one of the trails. I usually just walk the way I walk. Yeah, I love seeing, I've even seen at some of the craft stores, they have those, or you can make little fairy gardens. And kind of what I want to do today, part of what I need to do is write up some of those recipes I promised you I'd write up. And maybe take some pictures. Or at least steal some pictures from YouTube video, or from videos. Some might be class videos. Oh, I love the fairy symbol. But it's funny, you don't hear the cicadas as much in here. Cheryl's checking her phone because she's working. See, look at the little spider web with the light hitting it just like that. I think it looks so cool. And we'll probably go at least to the bridge. Max is seeming kind of like hot. You hot, buddy? Do you want to say hi? Say hello. Ooh, you guys, look at this. I love moss. We have some moss on this one piece of cement in our front door, and I don't want to clean it off because I just think, I mean, look at that. So cool. And Jessie says, what a sweetie. Here, what do you want me to
I
have?
just need to do an email or a message real quick. If you got, just give me a second.
Okay. That's fine. We can just stand here and talk for a minute. If I walk ahead, Max, here, you want to see? Max is hot. Here, oh, I have to go back if I want to show you Max, or he's going to go ahead. The highlight of the trip, the star. Yeah, I think we can turn around. We're not walking fast, just so you guys know, for various reasons. But it said last week it was going to be in the 80s this week after Tuesday, and they lied. And this, actually, I'll take you guys down here and come back. Hopefully Max won't pull Cheryl. Max doesn't like anyone to be ahead of him. But I'll just take you and show you the cute little bridge this way, because I think it's delightful too. You can just kind of see what's kind of cool. Come on, it's just seeing the debris. And Colleen says they did lie. It's been so hot and humid this week. And Colleen, will you email me? I think I said I replied to your invoice with pay, but then I saw it pop up somewhere else. So I don't know if I did not, tell me, and I will do it today. I really thought I did. But, yeah. So seeing your name reminded me of that. And for those of you in Kathy's Cooking Club, I did send out an email. I think it was the end of last week or the beginning of this week. It all runs together about our September classes. So on Thursday, next Thursday, we're doing, oh, Jennifer's from Colorado. Anybody else from Colorado? Be careful. It's steep. As the TS says, I think that having higher humidity along with the heat is just miserable. I just think higher heat is miserable. So this is, if it rains a lot, there can be water here, but there's not now. And to me, this looks so fairy-esque. I don't know why it's doing weird things now, but okay. One day I'm going to understand the gimbal better. I just have to practice. But doesn't this look like a place where fairies scutter across? It's like a really, it's probably only like 2.5 feet wide.
Scutter across?
You want to, here, wait, let me get a good, okay. You can see them. So see, it's a really tiny bridge. So I like to imagine that fairies are there. And now let's turn around and we'll head back. He looks really tired. So, Rill, did that help with the 10%? And does anybody else have any questions while we're walking back? So you got an exact mathematical 2.1. So sometimes we might have, like for us, we're not on the maximum weight loss program of Dr. McDougall's, but just the starch solution. But we are severely limiting and avoiding, in general, avocado, nuts, and seeds. We don't have chocolate very often. When we do, it's usually cocoa. And TS, do you tend to have a lot of little flying and biting insects out while walking? Oftentimes, but not today. We have lots of mosquitoes and things here. And while I came down...
After it's rained.
Yeah, it's much worse after it rains. In the spring, Faith and I came down here pretty early, and we were covered in mosquitoes. And so that's when we walked down the other way. And Terry says, oh, it went away. What's the September lineup? You started and then stopped. Okay, thank you. Next week we're doing a potato meal plan. So we're going to cook up some potatoes and make some toppings and talk about how you can have potatoes all week long. Sorry, going uphill. And then the second class, I'm trying something completely new as far as a class. And we're going to do a slow cooker class. So while we're going to meet live, we are, sorry, big hill. I'm going to record all the slow cooker recipes. And then Cheryl's going to edit it. We're going to watch live and have a Q&A. Because you'd have to have at least a 4 or 5 hour class to do slow cooker recipes. And I can't expect that from anybody. Okay. So that's what we're doing. I'm probably doing, if it works well, oh, of course, Terry. If you ask me a question and I haven't answered it, repeat it, because when I'm on my phone, it just pops up for a couple of seconds and goes away. So with some of the trail, I have to look down so that I don't drop you, because that would be rude. Will says 10% sounds like an odd way to think about food. Thinking by meals is easier. And the main reason I say it like that for us is it's a good way to communicate it to people who only do things 100%. So a lot of people have been talking to me, not on lives, but asking questions separately, like, I'll feel sad not ever being able to eat anything any of my friends make ever again. Huh? You better hurry up because that's near the trailhead. And so it's more to describe our mindset than the actual how we divide food. So usually anything that is treaty or high calorie density that's on the plan or in our whole food plant-based part that could have some added oil, we try to do no more than once a week. So if we go to the Indian buffet, we will not go to a bowl restaurant, right? If we, I don't know, this week we went crazy. We had air fried Thin-Credible tortilla chips twice, which usually we would only have it once. Once a week, once every other week, but we brought food to friends. So I wanted them to try the oat queso. And honestly, I thought that they would have fried tortilla chips they would rather have at their house. And so I said, hey, I had also sent them a note saying, look, because they said, why don't we nosh before we go to the show? And I'm like, we don't need to nosh. We need to eat a whole meal, and we eat a lot because they try to eat very small meals. That's the way they go. Ooh, and Terry says, I want to try that popcorn with pickle juice. That is delicious. We try not to do that more than once or twice a week. Really, it was a once a week, and then it's been a twice a week thing. So we're probably going to pull that back, the popcorn. That doesn't mean you have to pull it back. It's because that's one of the things that once we have it, we kind of start wanting to have it every night. And it's not a bad food, but it's a dry carb instead of a wet carb. So,
and it was one of our favorite things to have prior to starting the McDougall solution. So we were having popcorn like at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. We could make a meal out of popcorn, and our popcorn was cooked in oil. And so, it's a slippery slope
for us. And we're not saying for you. And so that's the only thing I want to be, what we choose to be limited on, you may not. Maybe you're looking to gain weight. And if you're looking to gain weight, you need to eat the avocados, nuts, and seeds, right? And maybe some of the flours. We try to limit bread. And it's not because it's bad. It's not a bad food. It just can help you. It can make it harder for you to release weight. And that's one of the things we're doing now. At some point, we'll be taking you on a walk, and we will not be actively trying to release weight. And so we'll tell you what we're doing, and it might be a little bit different. Real says, say more about dry versus wet starches. To me, the easiest way to understand it is oatmeal. Like, think of a cooked bowl of oatmeal versus granola. So there are more calories in that granola, and it's going to be has a lower satiety. I never say that word right. It doesn't make you feel as full. I'm just gonna avoid that. Here, I'm switching hands. My hand's going numb. That builds up a weird muscle in my arm. I'm not used to feeling.
What's your coffee or the gimbal?
The gimbal.
Oh yeah, because
I'm holding it this way. I'm like, ooh, I feel like I just did a workout. Katya will be proud of me. And Dee says I use dill seasoning in my popcorn popped air paper bag. And so, thank you, Terry. Terry says, we know what you're talking about. One day I'll be able to say it. It took me forever to be able to say autonomy. I think that was a big one for me.
I think, doesn't it make the calorie density?
It does. So here's the thing. Water has no calories. So if I'm eating a big bowl of steel cut, slow cooker oatmeals, that's full of water. It's going to make me feel full at less calories consumed than if I ate dry granola by the handful. And that's kind of what Dr. McDougall is all about, feeling full, turning on those messages in your stomach when those walls get stretched. And that's why, so again, goodbye State Park. It was lovely hanging out with you while we did. And you can tell from some of these houses, we'll take you on sometimes I go all the way down this road, and that's my 3 mile is there and back. This is just a smaller walk, but it's hot. Another thing to think about would be mashed potatoes versus cut small, crisped up all the way in the air fryer kind of potato croutons. Thank you, yay from us on missing the snake. We're all very happy about that.
I might have been done for a couple weeks.
Yeah, Cheryl, I don't like snakes, but Cheryl is like really weirded out by them even more than me. And so we'll probably be walking slower home. This is when you can tell he's a senior dog is on the way back. On the way back, he's like, yeah, it's hot. So the whole wet starch versus dry starch, if you go and you find a thing on calorie density, you can either find a chart on Chef AJ's website. I think you can on Dr. McDougall as well. We'll turn you back this way so that you get to see more state parky stuff on the way back. Oh, and Kitty Mommy says, have you played around with natto? I watched a video the other day calling it Japanese cheese. I've had natto, and it is a fermented whole soybean food that's eaten a lot in Japan. And Chef Julia, if she's around, she can probably tell you way more in-depth details than I can. It's very tasty, very umami. Any fermented products are going to have some yummy stuff. Oh, hi Diana, good morning on the West Coast. Yay you for being up early. I got up late. I got up at like 10. But anything like natto, Vegana says, are you searching for mushrooms? No, this is just a state park near our house that we walk by to go on the other side. I don't know if there would be any mushrooms to forage in there, but you know what? I did order some mushrooms to grow in a box in the house, so maybe soon we'll do that. But natto would be a really good way to get some yummy umami fermented flavors into something like that. That's why miso, oh, I just forgot the name of the Korean soy paste. Gochujang is not the one I'm thinking about, or gochujang is the chili, but there's actually a soy paste, and it has a little more funk in it than regular miso. And honestly, that's one of the things that I'm wanting to add into some cheese sauces and do some experimentation on. But going back to calorie density. There you go, Do and Jang. Thank you so much, Kitty Mommy. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but copy that down, go to H Mart near you. Tia says, I've heard Dr. Lyle discuss wet versus dry starch and to stick with the wet starches if the goal is to lose more weight. And it's because it makes you feel more full. So when we make 1 cup of steel cut oats with 4 cups of water, there's enough for us to eat all the oatmeal we actually can hold. If we did...
Sometimes we have to put some in the fridge.
Sometimes we put some in the fridge of our leftover oatmeal, and sometimes I make creamy pints out of it. Ding jang. I'm sure Doing jang. I'm trying to say it right, and hopefully I am. I found my stuff in H Mart. Here, we'll go over here. Max is having a last chance extravaganza over there you don't want to see. Those of you who don't have dogs, walking can be very interesting. Terry, do you know if soups are considered wet starches? Soups would be wet, and soups are also good preloaders, or what some people call them, which means eat some soup. I know, look to the ground. We're on the other side of the road. And look how happy Max looks now. I know, Kitty Mommy, I wish I could hear it too. And what's so funny is we have been watching a lot of Korean like soap operas and movies on Netflix lately. So if I could hear it a couple of times, I could probably get it. Just switch hands again. Oh. And so a wet starch would actually be a starch. So let's say another example. So we said oatmeal versus granola. Baked potato versus cut up tiny home fries. Or like I made, good morning, Irma. If I made some hash browns in the panini press, I did it really thin and it came out crunchy, almost like a potato chip, which is what I was going for. That would be a dry potato starch. If we were looking at corn on the cob, grits, even though grits are dry, they're cooked in water. So that would be a wet starch. Corn tortillas, corn meal. Let's say, you know, if you didn't reconstitute it, well, you wouldn't eat it that way, but you know what I'm saying, would be a dry starch. So also things like flours, they're just higher calorie density because it's like taking the main thing and breaking it into a bunch of pieces, making it more calorie available to absorb. That would also, so the smaller ones, the lower calorie density is like fruit, vegetables, whole grains. Avocados are good, but they are higher calorie density. There's nothing wrong with whole grain bread, but it's higher calorie density. And if you guys, I just got introduced to, by you guys, Plant Dads. And so Plant Dads, Joey of Plant Dads, is talking about how he's been on the starch solution for a long time and he wasn't losing weight. And I loved how honest he was. So the first thing is he kind of admitted that he ate perfectly. He ate 100% Monday through Thursday and would lose 2 to 3 pounds every week. And from Friday through Sunday, he would gain it all back by not being compliant. And then the other thing is he felt, because when we're talking about calorie density, it is in a way like another way to talk about calorie intake. But for people like me, so I have friends that have done Weight Watchers, or like my friend Katya Gorbachova, she counts macros. I don't want to do that, and I certainly don't want to enter my food in a program. And the main reason for that is, and we did that for a while years ago, with me developing a new recipe every day, means I have to enter in everything, like more than normal people do. I'm not just having the Weight Watcher microwave meal. And it in fact makes me less likely to follow a plan. And if you're following the principles of calorie density, you will naturally eat lower calorie meals that are filling. Oh, hi, Nona Rocks. We're just walking on the other side of the street today. There's Maxie. Maxie's hot and tired and ready to go home, and so we're headed home. I don't know if you can see the butterfly or not. I'm trying to catch it for you. And so Joey was talking about how he is basically going to start counting calories. And I just think it's a different way. And if it works, because calorie density, if you're eating mostly lower calorie density, and calorie density is like what? And I'm making up a number off the top of my head. I think it might be 300 calories a pound for fruit and non-starchy vegetables. It might be 400. If somebody knows, correct me in the comments. And Peter says the starch solution works fine for me, but I even cheat on the weekends. And there's nothing wrong, you know what I mean? I don't like the word cheat for myself, which is exactly why I say we do 90%. And that just gives us an opportunity to eat with friends.
I just think that, you know, eating whole food plant-based with no oil really gives you a lot of flexibility to find that way that works perfectly for you. And if you can do, you know, all during the week perfect and then do weekends out, that's great.
And it really is going to depend on you. So like one of the things Joey was saying, and Susan says, I've painfully tracked food mostly to see nutrients, and it did not help. I maintained my weight, not lost any. And so that's what Joey's talking about. It's kind of like he feels like doing this calorie thing, and he did an experiment to figure out how many calories he needs to eat to lose weight. He also feels, I think he's my age, he feels like he needed a lower amount of calories, that his metabolism was slowing down. And that's super valid for being old like me. I'm 58 and a half. I don't have the same metabolism I had when I was 20. Also, we're working on my thyroid, so sometimes my metabolism is way higher than it, or way lower than maybe it should be, as we find that sweet spot for my thyroid medicine again. Because losing weight has caused me to mess with that. Hi. And that's we're waving really, really big at one of the golf course workers. He's so nice. Smiles all the time. Are there houses for sale? Yes. Though they keep trying, the realtors keep trying to buy my house. He keeps asking me if I want to sell my house, and I'm like, nope. I don't know though, I haven't seen any in a while. The one that our ophthalmologist bought, that we're going to pass again in a minute, it never had a for sale sign. So I think one of those people that, just try to switch hands again.
Dawn and Rob's never had a
Yeah, Dawn and Rob's house, our friends Dawn and Rob bought a house. We're getting closer. We're kind of going back where we were. So that's that body of water. Those are some golfers. Actually, your brain and muscles need glucose. Well, and you get all that in a whole food plant-based no oil diet. And one of the things is a no oil diet is not a no fat diet. And I feel like a lot of people want to say why other people shouldn't follow a whole food plant-based no oil diet. And I'm all for you do you. If you're trying to do whole food plant-based or whole food plant-based no oil, we're just telling you what we're doing. That doesn't mean you have to do what we're doing. But if you have some questions, we're just showing you how it's working. It's been working really well. We've been losing still between 1 pound and 2 pounds a week. Oh, here, why don't you hold this and I'll hold the dog for a few minutes.
Well, I won't be able to see people's comments.
It's okay. And what you can do,
It's not okay because people are going to want their comments.
I'll see if I can look over the top, but you can press right here, here.
But I can't see it at all.
Okay, so don't read them. Tell your story instead of making me hurt my arm.
So I won't be able to read your comments. I'm sorry. We'll go back and read them.
I think I heard us say that about 17 times.
We'll go back and read them in a little bit. So I went to my heart doctor yesterday because it was my 6-month follow-up. And an interesting thing that he pointed out to me that I found very shocking was that since my last appointment 6 months ago, it is actually more like 7 months ago, that I've actually lost 30 pounds since I was at the doctor 7 months ago. So I feel really good, and I'm loving having this extra energy. Like this walk we just did, I could never do with Kathy. Like probably 3 months ago, I struggled with this walk. I would get about to the clubhouse and I would start feeling lots of pain, and I would start feeling really wore out and short of breath. And I would say, look, I got to turn around. I would try to walk with her in faith, and I would get about as far as the entrance to the Eno that we showed you. And I would be like, y'all go on, I'll sit here and wait for you to get back. And I would take like a 20-minute rest while they walked the rest of the road down to the 3-mile mark. And then I would pick up with them when they came back. So like, I am just amazed at the amount of energy that I have just cutting out the oil.
Use the, here.
Oh, you want the flowers?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see them.
Here, you can. Okay, just keep going. And if you see a message, you could show it to me, but it's okay if not.
Okay.
So keep going.
So I gotta get this thing back where it belongs. There we go. All right. Sorry about that.
So keep telling your story.
So
you're feeling better.
I'm feeling better.
Said.
I'm feeling better, and the doctor was really impressed. And one of the things he said to me that like gave me inspiration to keep going was, he said, you know, right now you are the poster child for this.
And what's this?
And
Explain
he said,
what this means.
He said that having diabetes and having a history of heart problems in your family and things like that, he said, I'm doing what I should be doing for that situation, which is trying to lose weight and get myself healthier and watch what I put in my mouth. Whereas he said a lot of people, they just like, okay, well, just give me more medicine. And that's where he said, then we're just managing those people and just adding more and more medicine because they refuse to make any changes to their lifestyle. And he said, you know, to keep up the good work, and instead of seeing me in 6 months, I don't have to see him for a year. So I'm really feeling great about that. I'm really feeling great about what I'm eating. I feel full. I think I'm probably going to get to the point where I have to start dialing back some things probably in the next 30 days. So we'll keep you posted on how that looks for me. But, you know, I had a lot of weight to lose. So I do lose it at a higher rate than some people might. Because if you've only got, you know, 10, 20 pounds to lose, it's a lot harder to lose that 10 or 20 pounds than it does to start out needing to lose at least, you know, 80 to 100 pounds. You know, that first bit tends to go fast, but I know I'm going to hit that wall. And when I do, I'm going to make adjustments and just keep on going. The doctor said before I left, he said, you know, I'm probably not going to recognize you next year when I see you. And I said, that's the plan. So hopefully you guys can, you know, learn some stuff from us if you're trying to do this, and we can help you. I mean, honestly, if I can do this, anybody can do this, because I'm a picky eater. And it took me a really, really long time to just wrap my head around vegan. And, you know, now to do the whole food plant-based is just like, it feels great, but it's also mind-blowing at the same time that such minute changes in what I was doing could make that big a difference. And, you know, I guess, you know, it proves the science, you know, that Dr. McDougall's been telling us about. And I'm really grateful that Chef AJ turned Kathy onto that program, because I don't know if she'd have picked something else. I don't know if I'd have been there, you know.
Where's the water?
It's in my pocket. Gotta get Max some water out, sorry. Okay, so we are still on the road to the house. And I'm probably gonna hand this back to Kathy in a few minutes. Sorry I didn't bring my glasses. I promise next time I will bring my glasses, and I'm gonna hand you guys back to Kathy.
Okay, I'm gonna see if there are any comments. All right. Oh, wow. Perfect, Cheryl. Congratulations, Cheryl. 30 pounds is awesome, is it not? And Peter says there's already fat in the food. You don't need to add more fat. Right? Absolutely. Nona Rock says I was always added oil. 67 when I started Dr. McDougall. And I lost... Oh, why do the comments go away? Cancel. I literally have to click 2 places to get them back up. No. Cheryl, I'm happy to hear you're talking about dialing back on things. Oh, I'm glad you guys are encouraged. And Marilyn says if I don't consume enough calories, I lose weight. Absolutely. And she tracks calories and macros and calorie density. And she's always trying to gain weight, and her doctor wants her to go on a specific diet. And that's something really important to remember, is that everybody's on their own journey, and everybody's body is different, right? So if you guys ate exactly like Cheryl and I, you may or may not get exactly the same results. You have to see what foods you like and all of that. And so again, that's why I also talk about what we're avoiding. Thanks, Jessica. I appreciate that. And it's just, it's trial and error. We keep saying that we're avoiding avocado, nuts, and seeds, but I do use some nut milk on occasion. But that's a fraction of the amount of nuts than if we ate a peanut butter sandwich or an almond butter sandwich, because we're not drinking that whole quart of milk, and they're about the same amount of nuts in it, depending. If you get store-bought, it could actually have 2 tablespoons of nuts in it. Yeah, everybody's different, and we all have to figure out our way. It could be, for us, eating bread once a week is working for us now. Maybe that's all you have and you're trying to lose that last 5 pounds. You might have to go ahead and eliminate it. And Nona says, some people are naturally thin. My husband never put on weight. Very annoying, right? And the people who want to gain weight feel the same way about us, that we look at food sometimes the wrong way and we can put on weight. The thing that we have in common is trying to figure out what works for us and our bodies. And that changes over time. It changes sometimes during the seasons, right? Because sometimes you're able to go out and walk more. For a long time, I didn't really exercise inside. So if it was particularly cold or particularly hot, this is a really big tree. We're getting ready to have a UPS van pass us. Oh, no, maybe, maybe not. So we're getting off over into the grass. It's a magnolia tree, and this is after the flowers. What do you... Max was not thrilled about that. Dee says, that's me, I'm naturally thin. Let's see, they're still doing some work on this house. And I think the UPS man has to deliver to him or the one next. That was a magnolia tree, so you can kind of see. Let's see. I'm gonna have to get back farther. It's really, really big. It's a tree. Yeah, but it looks very similar, only larger. We have one big one and one medium one and one baby one. Hi. Yeah, I'm sorry it wasn't flowering. They do these beautiful giant white flowers. And we have some bushes in front of our house. One is a gardenia bush. And I make every year like a syrup because gardenias have this heady floral flavor. And it's very good in an iced coffee or a regular or zero alcohol gin drink. All right. I'm trying. We're almost home. Can you make a film? Oh, okay. I don't know if I saw somebody else's gardenia was blooming, but we're not near their house. We can go check. But I didn't notice that it was blooming. The blooms really last for about a day. But when I harvest them, I make a warm sugar syrup. And you might be able to do it with maple syrup or date syrup, but I honestly wouldn't recommend it because the taste and the smell is so delicate, you won't taste it with those. That's why I use a vegan sugar. And then I just put a little tiny bit in things. Yeah, magnolia blossoms I've heard are really good to eat, but I haven't done anything with them. Oh, we're so close to home. It has gotten very hot. I'm sure it is not as hot as where some of you are, so I apologize. But Max is just like, how hot? I don't know if I can see. Probably with the heat index in the low 90s. Hi, Mona. But when you're walking on the asphalt, like now I'm in a shade, it doesn't feel so bad. When the sun's beating down on us and we're on the asphalt, it feels much hotter. When we were in the woods, in the state park, it didn't seem that bad. And Jesse says 70 is about my limit. I feel you. So, yeah. And I think the thing is I just want it to be cooler. We didn't do that many miles. We probably have done not quite 2. Cheryl's looking on her phone.
2.5.
2.5 miles. TS says, I really appreciate you both. Thank you. Hi, Kimberly. We have to look both ways, and the street has a big hill, so you have to see if there was a car and listen. And then this is our front yard behind those trees. And you can kind of see our little house back through there. This is a mimosa tree. It doesn't look pretty now, but it gets these pink fluffy blossoms. Linda Fletcher says, such a lovely walk. Next time I might walk with you, that'd be great. Yeah, I think it's really pretty. So this is just like, everybody thinks it's our backyard, but it's our front yard. And now you know why you see all those cars in the window when I'm on a live in the kitchen. And Cheryl set out this little trash can in front of our house because we always want to have a place to put poopy bags. And people throw trash out here a lot. Nana says we've had a very hot summer here in Rome, still hitting 99 degrees. So we've let these bushes grow way, way, way up. I don't know what all of them are, but the one on the end is a gardenia. I don't see any flowers. This big guy. Oh, we do have one. Sometimes they bloom twice. Can you guys see that? And if you smell it, it has this heady perfume. So we've let it get up really tall. Oh, there's some more buds up there. I might be able to make some more syrup. And Khalid says, so people come and put their trash in your trash can. It's just a little trash can. It's really for, oh, you didn't see the flower. Here it is. Yeah, they smell so good. They don't last a long time. But yeah, because, and this is just like a natural area. So again, we're ending at our front door. And thanks for hanging out with us for another walk. It was awesome. If you want more of this content, let us know in the comments and give it a thumbs up. And we're doing a walk anyhow, so we might as well take you along with us, okay? You guys have an amazing day and do something kind for yourself, okay? We'll see you guys really, really soon.